Right. Are we live? Good.
We are live now. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to the rest of us in Europe. And welcome to the series of Authenticity and Inclusivity. I'm Aries and your host for today. And allow me to introduce my lovely guest, Moumita. Okay, whose remarkable journey as a minority in New Zealand shed some lights on the country's rich tapestry or culture and strength of its multicultural community. So Moumita is a cross-industry marketer with experience in non-profit, media, advertising, telecom. Wow. Have worked in some iconic global organizations such as BBDO in advertising, the Walt Disney Company, I think we all know the Walt Disney, Virgin Mobile in telecom, and in your current role in New Zealand, she managed the B2B marketing communication for the Dulux Group. She's also a trained tertiary educator and industry speaker. Now I feel very small. Okay, so Moumita is actually a content creator on LinkedIn as well, and is recognized as a creator for us to follow on a platform. So I'm really very honored, and thank you for being here, for allowing me to have this conversation with you. And she's going to share lots of stories from her corporate world and her life in academic and present them in a very real world and relatable way. And of course, apart from work, she takes a big interest in diversity and inclusion and social impact through her volunteering conversation. So that's why she's here with us today. So having worked in multicultural work environment through her travel across 7 continents, wow, she has lots of stories to tell in a very adaptive and versatile way. So without further ado, let's welcome Moumita to join us here today.
Thank you so much, Aries. Thank you for having me, and good evening to you in the UK. I was about to say in Europe, in the UK, and good morning to me from your tomorrow.
Yes, good morning to you from Saturday and good evening to me on Friday evening here. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let's start by maybe I would like to ask you about if you could tell us a little bit, how would you say that your journey has been authentic?
I struggled with this word authentic. I mean, I was not sure what exactly do you mean by being authentic. I mean, what is the other way around? What else can we be if not who we are, right? But when I moved to New Zealand, initially I was struggling to, find my space here, being accepted in a new geography. I would not post anything on LinkedIn, for example. I wouldn't do a video, or I would, sometimes when I'm applying for jobs, I would remove my name from my CV. So I went through those motions. And then when I realized that this difference that I have, my difference is actually my strength. When you start owning your difference, I think that is when you realize that people relate to you, people find your authenticity through when you own it up yourself and present yourself as exactly who you are. So I think that I went through that journey of initially being shy for my accent, initially not actually creating content on LinkedIn, particularly videos, and then gradually showing up as who I am. I think it went through that journey. Aries.
I like the way you put it back. I was like, oh, I'm supposed to rephrase it, and then you went on. What else? How else can we be but be ourselves and being authentic? And sorry if I really have to say this again. My difference is my strength, and what you say, the difference is really what your strength, and it's about owning it up. And there was a journey that you traveled through. I've got lots of questions to ask now. It's like I know we only have half an hour, but I want to ask is, how do you manage to transit from that shy with the accent of knowing I'm different and trying to cover up the difference and don't put my name there, and you actually recognize that the difference is actually your strength and it's about owning up. Yeah.
I think courage comes in bite-sized packages, Aries. I mean, I wasn't as brave when I started, and then you get support from your community. You get support from people who champion you, and then it grows. It actually organically grows, and then you all of a sudden you realize you've become this voice for others, not just for yourself. You're representing other minorities like you, or someone who wanted to say things but couldn't. You are saying it on behalf of them, and then it becomes a kind of, a support network around you, and you gradually get rid of all of those shyness that I was initially talking about, your introvertedness, and then you feel some sort of an ownership, some sort of a responsibility to highlight your journey and share about others as well. I think, yeah, just being yourself, sharing your journeys, people relate to these common experiences, and our experiences are not isolated experiences. These are shared experiences. What I talk about is just not my own lived experience. I am sure so many people who've, moved countries, have had to start back from scratch again in another country, all of a sudden became a minority from when they moved. They looked the same, they spoke kind of the same, similar accent. And then all of a sudden we become a minority, and we realize that, okay, we need to rephrase, reframe our mindset. So it is a journey.
I have lots to relate.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Done
lots to
similar
relate,
things.
because I moved from I mean, I'm not new to United Kingdom, but where I am now, I'm quite new to, I'm in Wales. So Wales is
Yeah.
quite, I have lived in England before, but I'm very new to Wales. So I can read, but I love what you say about the courage. Comes in bite-sized packages and organically grow, and really about the community.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful. I'm actually writing a book about authenticity, and one of the chapters talking about courage, and I'm still struggling to how to write courage, but I know you can't go without that courage. But that's why I think, my that wisdom word is bite size. How does it come true? It doesn't just land on you. It takes times. Yeah. I have questions actually. What was your deciding factor that lead you to make into such a big decision to move into because I know New Zealand is a beautiful place. Everybody would say, yeah, that's really beautiful, but moving into New Zealand is not an easy decision.
Well, life happens. Let me say it like that. I was, overworking, underfeeling in very senior corporate role. And then I lost my dad to a 2-month illness. All of a sudden, I think I have this reality check. The time doesn't wait for you. And then I quit my job. I was moving in with my then partner, with whom I'm separated now. And then I traveled. When you said 7 continents, I went to, during that travel gap year, I went to all over South America, I went to Antarctica. And then I came over to New Zealand. Initially, it was difficult. All I heard when I got here, I thought, I had this amazing brands that you just mentioned on my CV. It would be easy for me to get a job, but it wasn't. That was once again kind of a shock. And all I heard initially is, I don't have QE experience. Of course, I don't have QE experience. I'm new to the country. How do you expect me to have QE experience? But what about my global experience? Why don't you have a look at that? So that's been another journey as well. So I moved, and then gradually I found acceptance. I became familiar with the country, the people. I started my belonging journey in this country, and it is a two-way street, right? I walk a few steps. The community walk, the people, they walk a few steps towards me, and then we meet somewhere in between. So that's, in brief, has been my decision. And thereafter, it was like 2020, we know, the year of COVID and what followed. I stayed on, and I think it's hard making friends as adults, but right now I have grown a community. I have a few people who I can call friends. Last year when I was visiting mom, so my mom said to me, "When are you reaching home?" And then a friend here, she said to me that, "Please meet me when you get back home." So what is home? Which one is home, right? Back to you, Aries. I can go on talking about all of this if you have.
I resonate very strongly with what you say.
I'm sure.
Because I move I moved very late in my age. Close to 50, I moved. And I moved from a city to a town, right? Singapore is a city, and I live now. First time I live in a non-city. It's beautiful place. Like there's a lot of sheep here, but it's a very different setting. But I hear, like what you say, it was difficult in the beginning. You don't have Kiwi experience. That was another journey. That was interesting. There was a lot of journey and a lot of little journeys that's adding up. But that big decision was, that word was realizing time doesn't wait for us. It's kind of something kind of happened, and then you realize that I need to live a life. Back to what I say, what else can we be but be ourselves?
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly why I want to do this, is to say that most of us always live our life for somebody else, for our parents or whatever, and we forgot to live for ourselves. And it's only when we can live for ourselves, then we realize our difference, our being different is who we are. And so that's why I say it's such a, when you're saying, my heart was like, but I like what you say about the journey, another journey of belonging journey, and how you come together. It's not about just you search, but you walk and they walk, and you kind of meet that point of meeting. Yeah.
Yes.
You kind of jump ahead to my next question. I want to ask you how you navigate, but I kind of hear some of the navigation already. It's about, there was willingness to step forward. And I think the people there was also kind of friendly, and they also stepped forward.
Yes, mixed reactions, but then it takes time for you to get familiar, to be recognized, to be acknowledged. But one thing that I will say is, it's a process of realization. There are lessons. There are some understanding right now which I didn't have earlier. Just acknowledging that life is hard. We're not entitled in a new country. No one knows you. But then what happens when life is hard? We do not become a victim, right? And we feel sorry for ourselves and say things like, "Why me?" Instead, what you should actually do is answer that question, "Why me?" Not ask yourself, but answer that question, "Why me?" These are the reasons why you need to choose me. I say this all the time, that when life is hard, wear a helmet. There are no other options but to do just that. And there was something else that you said, that meeting halfway. Belonging is actually a two-way street. In New Zealand, in the local indigenous language, Piro Maori, there is a beautiful saying, "Aroha atu, aroha mai." Love received is love returned. So when you realize that, and when you embrace a new culture, you feel that being given back to you, I think.
Yeah,
I think I'm sure you're going through a lot of motions, similar situations in your
I'm not
life.
supposed to, I'm supposed to be just interviewing, getting the story, but as you were
No,
sharing
but
the
then
story,
this is
I
the
can
best
relate
conversation.
so much.
If you can relate and you can resonate and you can, please share some of your stories. I'd be very keen to know.
I'm still in my early journey. I'm not as advanced as you. What I mean is, the early and advanced is not in terms of time, in terms of what you have done. There is the journey is kind of a process. Acknowledging life is hard, and I like what you say. Why me? But don't ask, but answer the questions. And when life is hard, wear the helmet. As you say that, I was like applying to myself. And I'm still in the process of realization. But despite of what I do as a coach, I have to say that one of the biggest realization is we are all WIP, work in progress. We are never complete. When we are complete, either we are dead or we are too arrogant to learn anymore. So we are always learning. And in my process of realization, there's a lot of thoughts of my that courage, willing to kind of come true about recognizing who I am authentically or organically as a child, harm and life, and going back to that self. So I think that is my realization journey. And also knowing that your personality, your introvert, your extrovert, how you get energy and things like that is coming. I'm thinking and reflecting a lot on that, which is I'm going to do a session on introversion and extroversion at some point. My favorite topic, but I felt there's a lot of that coming through, because when an introvert and extrovert do things quite differently. Extrovert want to be around people to get the energy, but introvert is more about needing time alone to get their own internal energy, which is a bit different. It's not about good, bad, right or wrong. It's just we are different. And I think I have both the introversion and the extroversion.
I think,
we're not going to discuss that, but I love this thing. I don't know how anybody who hear this will feel about this word. I can't copy everything that you say, but this part that I have, because I love receive is love return. And what I kind of turn it around is in giving, we receive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, and when you give, you get back way more. And I think that I have found that in volunteering a lot. If you are, if you embrace that spirit of volunteerism in you, you have that similar feeling. You get back way more than you give.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. It reminds me of some of the work that I used to do in Singapore, in a gender diversity. And initially I go in there because they say you need to go out and be outside of your company and do more of that. So I went, but when I give and participate and do a lot of things, actually I receive a lot of things as well. Receive in the bond, the friendship with the other women there, serving there, and we're all just serving, and we build a very strong community, a very strong friendship, and through it I gain a lot of self-confidence. So absolutely. I wasn't expecting that, but it comes true over the time, and I realized that's what happened. So that's why I come out with the quote that when we give, we actually receive. And that's why when you say love is received, when love is received is love returned, I was like, wow, that is so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Kitio Maori saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Tell me.
knowing all that now, how would you say that, how have that helped you to be a person of inclusivity? As you know, my title is a bit authentic and inclusive, right? It's actually opposite, right? When we are inclusive, we kind of conform to one another, which is what we always do. But when we conform too much, we lost our authenticity. So in terms of authenticity, how can we have inclusivity? Especially from where you're coming from and what we discussed. What is your thoughts on that?
But I will slightly differ from you. Inclusivity is also embracing the difference. So, I heard this beautiful definition. So diversity recognizes that each one of us are different. Inclusion is actually inviting all those differences in one room. And then how does belonging come through? Belonging comes through by being authentic and by acknowledging that authenticity in each one, in those included group of people, and actually giving them a voice, giving each one a separate voice to share their thoughts, share just being themselves. I think that's the spectrum. It just starts with diversity. You just acknowledge, recognize, yes, different is the only thing that we can be. And being included is obviously the smartest thing to do. You bring in so much like range of equations, confidence, capabilities. So why would you not?
What comes to mind was it's only when we are able to truly acknowledge and recognize our difference, then we can be truly authentic. Back to what you open up your word, I thought that was beautiful. What else can we be but being different, being who we are? And the inclusivity is just basically embracing that difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I forget who has said this, but being different is the only thing that we can be, right? And being inclusive is the smartest thing to do. I don't know if someone did not say that. Let me just say I'm saying that. But I think I've heard it, I've read it somewhere. So let me not claim it entirely. Inspired.
Yeah. Different is the only thing we can be. I think this is a beautiful quote. I might have heard it somewhere.
Yes.
When I'm talking about when we conform or we will try to be the same, before we have this whole diversity and inclusion thing coming up, if you look technically in an organization, there's always kind of one color. Of course, at the time, the colors mainly are white and male. And normally when you have the same so-called similar culture and everything, it's easier. When I say something, they can understand and resonate, and then you move in that direction. Things are a lot quicker and less conflict. But now people start to realize, yeah, that's good. But when you don't have that diversity, that means your ideas is like this. Because you don't have that difference. And only when the difference come in, we have the multicolors. And that is where beauty is. But of course, with multicolors, we can't ignore conflicts. But actually, conflict is good. It's just showing that we are different. It's only how we, like what inclusivity are embracing. So it's about how we embrace that conflict, how we recognize that you are different, but able to accept your different, just like you're going to accept that I'm different.
Yeah. Embrace and work along and manage that conflict, what you just said, manage and move along.
Yeah, I mean, in positive intelligence, talking about actually conflict is kind of good. It is showing that we have different ideas. It's only how we can kind of come together and kind of the difference and move together in that way. And I'm not sure I'm good at saying, but it's...
No, you said that well. You said that very well. I think I agree.
Yeah, so conflicts, and it's kind of like the inclusivity is about embracing that difference. And And yeah, belonging come to authenticity. I got a lot of wisdom word today, and I need to spend some time looking them through because I'm still processing a lot of the thoughts about writing this. So I'm saying thank you so much for this. We have a few minutes before we close. I just want to ask, do you have any words of advice or wisdom you can share with us from the journey? I know you have multiple journeys. Yeah, about the journey, and then how can we really be in the word? Can I quote you? What else can we be? You should have that word. It's really powerful.
Thank you, Aries. Thank you for having me. But I will just probably just say just this one thing about moving countries is knowing that we're not entitled, but holding our own. I went to this event recently, similar conversation, obviously, and I met this lady, she is a fashion designer. She's a fashion designer with about 35 years of experience, and she's moved from Italy to here. When you mentioned earlier, you moved quite late in your life, and me too. When we move not just as international students, but as mature professionals, sometimes we also get to hear this term, overqualified. You're overqualified for a role, right? This lady, you know what she's done? She's tattooed overqualified on her wrist. Her company name is now overqualified. That is like taking the bull by its horn. I was so inspired by this, that what is that most like, it's a common refrain. Just take it, turn it around into a positive, and do not become, don't ask why me, but answer why me. That would be my, I think, last thoughts.
Reframe. Yes, indeed. Reframing is very powerful, because most of the time when we ask things always why me, we stay in the victim mode and then we just spiral down. But when we turn it around, generally we turn it around by asking positive questions. In this case, a bit unique. Don't ask the why me, but answer the why me.
Yeah.
In coaching, what they say is don't use why, but use what. Because why have the tendency to spiral down negativity, but what normally help you to think about what is in this situation, what am I doing here, what can I do? So always go towards the what. It's like answer the why me, and in a sense reframing that. And when we reframe, I would say human is very resilient, and when we reframe, there is that shift and there's a mindset, and then we have the idea and we kind of able to move forward. So reframing. Not why me, but answer why me. And any more last word, and then we will close this. Thank you.
Give enough reasons by answering that question, and also do not be afraid to embrace the new. We've been in our home countries or wherever we've moved from. We've been doing. We were familiar with the old me. Now try the new me. Leaving those thoughts with you, Aries.
Not to be afraid to embrace the new me. If we are, we will stay stuck in the old me. Yeah. Thank you. And then with that, I want to say thank you for being here and sharing lots of wisdom words that definitely resonate with me. I would love that this conversation is a lot longer and I can have even more details. I think I get even more gems out from that. Maybe we can speak some other time. We never know.
Yes. Happy to continue the conversation later or offline.
And anyone who have more questions, you can always put it there. We will come back to you at some point. And I'm going to say bye. Until then.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me, Aries.
Most welcome.